Check, 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 check. Peace, 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 peace. Peace to you and yours. Peace to you and yours. Welcome, 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 welcome to another episode of Third Eye Thursdays. Yes, indeed. You are now rocking with your best. Yes, this is your host for the evening, Brother Red Pillar, reporting live and direct. Let me know how are we sounding on the audio. Let me know how we are sounding on the audio, please, before we go any further. Peace, love, and light. Islam to all of the Moors in the building. Greetings. Good evening. Hotep, Shalom, and all of the greetings of civilized man, woman, and child. Tonight is going to be a very special night. The name of tonight's episode is A Moorish Worldview on Geopolitics and More, featuring the master teacher, Baba Taj Tariq Bey, all right, a veteran, alumni of Know the Ledge, KTL. As a matter of fact, Baba Taj was our inaugural guest in our first Blog Talk radio show in the year of 2010, January 8th, on the Prophet's birthday. So he is one of the ones who opened up the northern gates. He opened up the gates for Know the Ledge. All right. So that's how far we go back. And that's how, for everybody who is new to the program. And for those who are new to the program, this is one of the reasons specifically why this show is so important. And this is why we are doing this show tonight, because we have a lot of new people who have joined the movement, and they're not familiar with Baba. They're not familiar with the teachings of Taj Tariq Bey. They might have heard of him, or they might have seen him on TikTok or YouTube, but it's very rare that they've seen him in person. And I decided that now is the time. Timing is everything. And the message that the Moors have delivered from time immemorial, but definitely in the past 20 to 30 years, we are in a day and a time where that information has come to pass. All things get better in time. They say the great divine speaks through signs, and things age fine like wine. Well, the prophets who come amongst us and the messengers, the way that we're able to qualify them and the way that we're able to measure their wisdom is the fact that things that they have spoken of and teachings that they have given the people, we're able to look at it and we're able to measure it to see if these teachings have come to pass. And I would definitely, I would give you the task to do that for anybody that you call your teacher. I would suggest you run their teachings through the quote unquote run it through some type of measurement, run it through some type of quote unquote. Don't be afraid either, don't be intimidated. Learn how to measure it and learn how to weigh it to see if it's true or not. And this brother that I'm about to introduce you to, since going all the way back into New York City when we were in Harlem at the National Black Theater throughout the years of 2000, and if my memory serves me correct, I would say 2000 and about 9, headed all the way up to about 2020. Okay, this brother was giving information to the multitudes. There were days where I counted 300 to 400 people in those rooms on Wednesdays, every single Wednesday in New York City. The Moors were delivering pertinent information, life-saving information, restoring our nationality through right information, restoring our posture. I'm talking about? Giving us eyes that we can see and ears that we can hear, because I promise you, the preparation that me personally I was able to receive from many different Moors and many different master teachers throughout my days and times and whatnot. it has prepared me for everything that I'm seeing today. And nothing surprises me. I'm actually, like I've said before, those of us that are true students, we wake up to presents every single day that we pick our phone up. It's a gift and a present being unwrapped in real time. All type of events coming true. And if our memory serves us correct, we were sitting in rooms and we were being told years and years and years ago that this was going to happen verbatim. Imagine the joy. But I'm not going to talk your heads off. We will be doing roll call, maybe in the middle of the show when the room fills up. But for right now, I have my guest in the room and I'm not going to keep him waiting. This is a busy man. So I want to bring to the stage, ladies and gentlemen, our brother, your brother, none other than the master teacher himself, Taj Tariq Bey. Peace, love, and light. Islam.
Peace, love, and light, good brother. Excuse
Yes.
the yeah, I just came in from work, so excuse the darkness
Nah,
because I'm throwing stuff around.
you good.
Anyway,
And your lighting is great. Look, I'm in the darkness right here. I'm behind the, you know what I'm saying? I'm behind the curtain.
right on,
You
good brother.
everything is good. The sound is good. You look good. How you been doing? How you doing? It's been a minute since I've seen you.
Busy, busy, busy. I should be in the shower, so excuse me.
That's
But
right.
doing
For
what we
those,
do, brother. And I'm
right.
I'm I'm appreciative of you and Blue Pill for continuing the journey to help a lot of the youth coming in because you two in particular, there's been others, but you and your brother in particular have been a great bridge to the coming generations to get a lot of the concepts over to them, as
Yes.
well as the art and the skills that you all have been doing with your t-shirts and other things that you created that give the people a mental and social connection and also a sense of self-governing and economy. So that's I want to give you props for that because probably some people don't tell you, but I'm telling you, you're appreciated.
Thank you, Baba. You don't know how much that means. Like it means more coming from you, Taj, because as I was sharing with the audience just now, we were in the back of those classes, right? With baby faces, and you were on the stage. You were the teacher. You know what I mean? You were holding class over the years and whatnot. And I've been on those stages that you were standing on, and I've been, there's a vantage point that you get when you stand on those stages because you get to see everybody in the back, and you
Yeah,
pay attention to the people who consistently are at the lectures that are either in the front row, the middle row, or the back when you're standing on those stages, and you can see the growth and development of small businesses as they grow into big businesses.
yeah.
You see the growth and development of people who started out as entrepreneurs and then they
Hmm.
become serial entrepreneurs. You get to see the children growing that
Yes,
people
for
bring
real.
to these people bring babies to the lectures, and
And a
then
lot of them babies got babies now.
the babies got babies now. And I know, that we were under the watchful eye of you and other elders. You feel me? Elders that are not even here anymore. Mr. Arnold, Sister
Yeah,
Chachina Arnold's father, Mr.
yep.
Arnold, so many elders that were watchful over us and told us, dropped gems on me and Blue Pill, gave us wisdom, greeted our Mama Pill with the utmost respect. It's just
Hmm.
I have a lot of grateful moments. So
Yeah.
to know that you've been watching and you've seen the authenticity in which we had to had to persevere and
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 to
and, and,
endure.
and to
And
endure,
yes,
because it wasn't handed to us. Like we literally had to we climbed this mountain, and we climbed it carrying a lot of weight on our shoulders.
you got that right twice.
You know what I mean? And we did it in
Just
the
as a
eyes of,
note, just
huh?
as a note to you, too.
Yes.
Brother Gene used to call me every week up until a couple weeks before he, transformed.
He loved you, brother Gene. You had a place in his heart. He told me on many occasions the information and the light that was shined upon him, that basically woke him up to a world that he did not know existed. He was like, yo, nobody could have paid, because remember, Gene was a wealthy businessman, and he would tell me, he was like, there's no amount of money, there's no amount of quote unquote buildings and real estate that I could own, there's no amount of any of these material things that I would ever trade for the information that I receive every Wednesday and every Monday, because it was the brother Ali was in on Monday class, right? And then Baba Gene, he would be at all of the lectures, all of the debates, everything that came through.
He used to do the door for us, him and his wife.
Him and his wife, yes. You feel me? Call sister, is it Carla?
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Big
Carmen,
up,
Sister
Carmen, Sister Carmen, indeed. Sister
Mhm.
Carmen and Brother Gene, man, treasures. I treasure their memories, the
Yes.
memories that we all had together. And now we're here, right? Many, many moons later, you know, we're still out here working. I see you out there on the highways and the byways. You know, I see you going viral.
People won't let me rest.
Right. As I said earlier, it seems that the information is that's been disseminated over the past 20 to 30 years, somehow, some way now in these days and times, not only is it manifested, but it's even much more needed today than yesterday.
Exactly.
There's been numerous people who have told me that in the federal and in the state prison system, one of the most promising and one of the most reward giving studies and disciplines is Moorish science. And I'd be like, why is that, my brother? And they tell me, because it's that type of practice that are changing people's lives forever, because they giving time back and they coming home. It's breaking them out of the quote unquote purgatory. It's freeing them from slavery. You know, and they like, yo, certain brothers are you know, it's conforming a lot of people's mind state in a place where we would think that they would just be going to wither away or to become worse people and whatnot. But I'm here to let you know, some of our brothers and our sisters are finding the information even in the darkest of places, right?
Yes.
And it's a light, and it's helping them save themselves and free, you know, help their, even if they are,
and actually help others.
And actually help others. For real, bro. And actually help others. So the internet has been ablaze with information about so many things that we sat down and learned in civics and heritage class, dealing with sovereignty, dealing with status. And one of the hottest conversations taking place on the internet is the color black and its legal connotations, or the legal ramifications behind the color black. So,
and the people being really the people of the land.
Yes. So as we begin this navigation tonight, this journey that we're gonna partake upon, I want to open it up by asking you the first question, and I want to just get the quote unquote 800-pound gorilla out of the room, and I would like to unpack what is the Moors, what is their worldview on this word or this color black, and how it is applied to melanated people, not only in America or Northwest of Mexico, but globally, but around the world. Yes.
All right. So remember, and it is mostly from the 1700s, around the 1795, with the phenotype mind control and social engineering paradigm of Carlos Linnaeus and Frederick Johann Blumenbach.
Okay.
And those phenotype, mind control systems and social engineering was mainly adopted at North America under the foreign corporate operations of a United States corporation company that has been feigned as a country since February 2nd, 1871 with the Organic Act of Congress.
Real quick,
And
I'm sorry, Taj. I don't mean to cut your wisdom.
reinforced,
I don't mean to
yeah,
cut your wisdom. Real quick, family. There's two requests. One, I need a moderator or two moderators who are very fast, like stenographers, who could basically type some of these terms that are being said. And I also want y'all to get your pens and your pads. Do not let this information fly by you and you don't capture it, because this is a free broadcast, and you might look past that. You might just think that this is a regular broadcast. No, this is actually a conversation that real talk in different places, especially outside of America and in different nations. It's $1,000 just to hear information like this. So I don't want to disrupt you anyway, but I want everybody to be able to,
give them, you already know we always tell the people, take notes.
Take notes, because now you got AI, GPT. You could go ahead and research and really go deep dive in and take this and make some breakthroughs. So let's build.
It's really interesting how the deep state actually, with infighting, released internet to the public with their infighting, but it was really not originally constructed for the public.
It was actually
constructed to control the public.
Yes.
And to some degree, now it has backfired on them, because it has given the people of the world an opportunity to talk to each other and to discover bridges. Yes, and to discover information, for the most part, that has always been held back from the public.
That's a fact.
Anyway, back to the
Can you repeat the name of Carlos and Frederick, please? Let's start with them again, so we can get the spelling.
Yeah, they would say Carol. Some would say Carolus, but Carlos, they would say Carlos Linnaeus. That was a double N. And just speak it in your speaker, and you'll get a little bit of history on him.
Okay.
And Frederick Johann Blumenbach. That's a B-A-C-K. H. Yeah.
Blumenbach.
Now they dealt with the phenotype operations to create the psychology paradigm of race, which was to be used for social control. So remember, that's 1700s, and it doesn't go back. So when you see scholars start talking about the racism and they go back beyond that, you already know that they're not being honest with the people.
Right.
No different than when you're dealing with the animal husbandry training by design for dumbing down conquered peoples, and particularly people of what you call the ancient Phoenici, Canaanite, Moabite tribes, particularly in the Maghreb, which is known as the Americas, etc.
Maghreb. What about those in the Levant?
Yeah, yes. And this is one of the reasons why they have always used that term. And I know people have heard that term, where the hybrid Europeans would refer to the psychosis of separating Egypt from Africa. And people who didn't understand it would say, how could they lift up Egypt and move it away from Africa? Because they're thinking geography in their mind, and really is the mind of the people not knowing that America, or what they call America, is part of Egypt, ancient. Right. And they're really not separate. And this is, again, why they've always promoted that self-hatred, that when some of the information would come out, a lot of our own people would get angry as soon as you say that they have any African descent. That's part of mind control system. So they don't know.
I'm sorry. Can you expound on that just a bit?
All right. Lower Tennessee and Kentucky area is really known as Lower Egypt.
Yes, indeed. It's been noted.
Yeah, this is why they don't allow the common people to enter those tunnels except in limited areas. Another dynamic is why they disallow the general public altogether to go into what you call any deep entries into the Grand Canyon.
Yes, that is off limits.
Because they will find more so-called ancient Hikupta, because remember, Egypt is a modern term for Hikupta. That's where you get Ptah from.
Yes.
The actual name of Egypt is Hikupta, and it includes here. And so they don't want people to know about the Great Super Devere, where would you refer to Tameri, or what you refer to as Kemet, where the northern part of what they call Africa in modern times actually was at the Gulf of Mexico.
The Yucatan Peninsula?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And they will refer to it in their rewritten history as the continental shift.
Right.
Or continental drift, and also called Pangea.
Right.
Or the sinking of Mu and Atlantis. The ancient ones here refer to it as the cocoa plate shift. And so you're talking about compound thousands of years ago. And our people have been here then and before. Fact. So when they tell the people the reconstructed history of the so-called Black diaspora, that's totally reconstructed. And for the most part, not that there haven't been servitude trade among tribes and stuff like that. That's true, but very limited. 99% of the people who are descended here are the people of the land. They're really Al-Moroccans. Means descendant or coming down or descended down from, and Moroccan is a short for the Canaanite, Moabite, ancient tribes, etc. And this is why some people, when they start doing research, they start discovering the foundations of certain philosophies, and they trace it back to the Kabbalistic and Sabian Moors. And this is where they get Saba, or the name Saba, or the word Saba, and seven from. It's actually from themselves. And this is why a lot of people think, because of the reconstructed history, they'll say, "Oh, we're really Hebrew." No, Hebrew is a dialectical corruption of the word Ibri, which means those who cross the river.
Right. You always taught us that.
It's not a people, it's an action.
Right.
And it had to do with the Super Devere, the Great Super Devere, or what is referred to in Septuaginta and in Asiatic, and this, you got to always remember Asiatic Africa. People, when they say Africa and they don't say Asia too, they're misdirecting the people's minds. Because remember, we peopled the planet.
Right.
All right. And so a lot of things that they will talk about coming from Africa, that's a directed misnomer. Much of what they've been told is actually reversed from here to the other side. If you get the point.
Yes,
they know that, but that's referred to as one of the Great Masonic secrets, never to be told, under the threat of death. And this is why all secret societies, whether you see them hybrid Europeans, whether in Russia, whether in China, whether in Africa or Kemet today, or in South America, all of them in their chambers wear the Moorish fez.
Yes, they do.
And this is also, and this includes a lot of our honored leaders that are people considered leaders, including Elijah Muhammad, Farrakhan, Jesse, Martin, all of them in secret had fezzes. Now, logically, they know that if they say things like we're talking openly, that most of them would get thrown out of their own houses.
Oh, that's a violation of the oath.
Because the mentality of the people.
Right.
And, no different than, like, say, for instance, for those who are like 5%ers, gods and earth, they know about Clarence, but they don't know about Clarence and the supreme wisdom and his participation in the Nation of Islam, which was also the temple of Allah, and also with Malik, Malcolm, and also why they broke off, and also why they were murdered. Even Brother Khalid, when he started telling the people some of the supreme wisdom and start leaking out that these people are Moors, all of a sudden you know what happened to him in New York.
Right.
All right. Now,
I think it was in Atlanta.
Yeah. Pardon me, Atlanta, but I'm just saying, you know where I'm coming from.
Of
when
course,
he made those statements in New York.
Right. They put the mark on the target on him.
Exactly, because that's called the Great Masonic secret.
Right.
Because once they know that, they start digging up history, they'll start finding out that most of the things that they've been told are false, reconstructed, and many of the people that they've trusted as leaders are actually COINTELPRO operatives. Difficult for them to accept that, but that is the reality. Now, getting back to the point of the black codes, the Christian black codes come from Codes Noir 1620, which is French, of the Franciscan Brotherhood, that deals with a lot of the dynamics of the Slavic, some of the Slavic Germanic tribes that were conquered by the Red Russians. And this is where you get the word slave from. Slave is an identity. It's not a condition. But you already know it's for reconstructed purposes and controlling the narrative. They told the people it's a condition and that it's a name that applies to Moors who were branded Negro, Black, Colored, and Indian, and saying that that's the identity of such persons when actually it's a nationality of the Europeans. Now, this is the other deal. Black is derived from Middle English, and which is derived from Old High German, and has its existence in linguistic forms 1150 to the 1700 area. It has no ancient origin and is from Old High German, and it means beluga, white spot, black, blaine, blanco, etc., and actually means pale colors. That's what it means. Now, for control purposes of trading places, this is why in 1854 at the Knights of Columbus Ku Klux Klan oath convention here at Philadelphia with the Whiggamore Party, which consists of the cotton wigs and the conscience wigs, and this is where the hybrid Europeans would wear wigs dealing with jurisprudence and history and philosophy, pretending to be Moors. That's why they called Whiggamores, because they would wear curly wigs to imitate the Moors.
Yes, the Whiggamores.
Yes, that's it, right here in Philadelphia. And then, you know, in when they had their convention in 1854, this is one of the around the area in time cycle when Horace Greeley, who was a New York newspaper tycoon, came into the party. And this is when they decided to take on the noble title of, or the law title of sovereign of the land due to colonial operations here. And this is when they took on the title white. And our people who don't know, the scholars know, you know they know, but you already know they've made their finances promoting the black paradigm, knowing that our people aren't black, not only in the fact that they're not black as an identity, but not tell them the truth that black actually means pale colors.
Right.
And our people have adopted it and agreed to the Christian black codes. And then when the codes are enforced on them, they want to get mad and march all over the place. And everybody makes finance off them, including their so-called black leaders that keep marching them around on their own land and not telling the truth. Is another reason why they got rid of Malik when he made the Hajj, and it was a blue-eyed French Muslim that schooled him. Don't come over here with that black and white language, that's slave language, etc. He said, to you, Maghreb is evening salat, as it is with many Muslims around the world. However, Maghreb is North America, Morocco, the most extreme West. You should know better. And of course, that created some problems. And as you already know, before he came back to the North, he set up two organizations. Yes, and at that time, you know, he became a threat to the system. So you already know they were going to get rid of him.
Yes.
And also the same thing with Martin when he got frustrated, because he was a 33-degree Mason. And when that European smacked him aside the head with a brick, he said something must be wrong with these people. And he made the statements along the line that our people are refugees in their own land.
Yes, he did.
All right. He broke his Masonic oath because our people aren't supposed to know that they're Aboriginal, not just indigenous, they're Aboriginal. That means they're first people. And this is why they won't explain to people that Aboriginal comes before indigenous, because they don't want people to know that we're the real Almorocans, or what is referred to as the real Americans. So these has much to do with the social engineering and why so much emphasis is put on the Christian black codes, and why so many people are paid among our own to keep promoting the Christian black codes under the Jesus paradigm, and under that being a genetic identity of Asiatic African people, knowing it's false, knowing that it puts the people under the codes. This is again why sometimes Europeans will get frustrated when our people start knocking them, for mistreating us, and say, y'all should go ahead, go after your so-called black leaders that keep helping putting you all back into slavery. And we get mad and start calling them racist and stuff like that. And they're actually telling the truth. So as a front, that's what I have to say about black.
Indeed. I want to also ask you, when they say that black in the eyes of the law means death.
That's what it means. Now, so they're not talking at that point, they're not talking etymology.
Right.
They're talking social engineering.
Right.
All right. So that would come under this, also referred to as civil liter mortuus.
Right.
So everyone write that down. Civil liter mortuus. It means not physically dead, but dead in the view of the law. This is why it has always been said in legal and law terms that no white man has any obligation to respect any alleged rights of any black man. And our people would take it personally, not knowing that that actually is true, because they think that white and black are genetics of what they've been trained as race, not knowing that they're statuses. This is again why they do not teach positive law jurisprudence to our people. It's why they remove etymology books from the school systems in order to support connotative linguistic mind control, which is introduced into the training venues that our people refer to as the General Education Board, Frederick T. Gates and John D. Rockefeller, 1902. After they murdered Winona here at Philadelphia, that they refer to as Lover's Leap, that people come around the world to look at, and our people think it's a place for lovers, and that's where they murdered Winona. Then they put a statue of Tammany with Aquila on his shoulder at the entrance to the boulevard down there at Broad Street.
Brother Ross Ben came on the show and he broke that down, and we actually showed the statues that depict the ritual of, Chief Tammany.
Yeah.
The way that they got Philadelphia set up Masonically to basically have a Masonic conversation through the artwork.
Exactly. That's why that Frenchman, remember a couple of years ago, the Frenchman bought the oil painting on wood that has been displayed at the art museum, which was really a mound. You know that, we know that, but
yes,
a lot of the people here don't know that because they're not supposed to know that. Not under the black codes, they're not supposed to know that. Right. And a Frenchman bought that a couple of years ago to stop our people from reproducing it. Remember, used to be able to go around and people who were selling art and stuff would sell pictures of the Moorish chieftain.
Yes.
And you notice that in the last few years, you don't see them paintings around anymore.
You do not.
There's very few of them.
Can you get into the Mums Parade?
The Mummers Parade, remember, the Mummers Parade is a celebration of the fall of the Moors.
That's right.
Now, and so you see with all of their troops, that's why they would all wear bright colors, turbans, feathers in their bands and stuff like that. And originally they would do it in what they refer to as blackface.
Right.
And then they would put dark makeup on. And then also that also relates to what they call the Boston Tea Party, where they imitated us to throw the tea over.
Yes, yes.
Well, you already know about that. But
Indeed.
the deal is they assemble at 6, keep in mind the number, and because it's a very small area, but all the troops of Kaiklos, i.e. Clan, Kaiklos, and the Mummers would assemble at 6 and Moore Street. That's where they assemble. Then they march westward. And this is where you get the term from Horace Greeley, go west, young man. That's where that term come from.
Yes.
Then they go to Broad Street, make a right angle, the square, and they march northward at Juniper, 13th, Juniper area, where the lodge that George Washington closed, that was the last lodge that he closed, right there in Philadelphia. And they stop and make judgment at the great battleground where they have Cornwallis and them on a horse in front of the parapet of City Hall that's designed exactly like a mosque.
Yes.
And the North Gate parapet would be facing the Grand Lodge that George Washington closed. And you know, and we know that he was the 9th president or praetor for the Roman operations of the West, and not the first praetor. He was the 9th praetor, and it was he who started dividing the estates and the Bonnevilles of the Moors into what is known now as the states. They're really territorial estates of the Moors of the land, etc. And so It's necessary for them to reconstruct the history, etc., in order to mold the minds of the people. And this is again why they covered up the walls of what they call Independence Hall. You know, you've been in this area, so you already know that they covered up the walls and covered up old art and old maps in Independence Hall. And you also know why they did the double movie here called National Treasure.
Right.
And they sought the old missing coin with the Great Seal Pyramid, all that symbolic. And then they talk about the hidden tunnels under Philadelphia, etc. Well, you already know that. We don't need to go into that, but that's all connected to the Mummers Parade.
What about the Dante's Gates of Hell?
Same principle.
Okay.
And you already know there's a tunnel that actually goes through the water to the Delaware, right from the Rouse building. And then you know they display the bell right there at the corner on 6. Yes. 6 again. You see the 6?
Yes, I do.
And then you see right across the street from Independence Hall, they have a plaque right in the ground, right? And that plaque is when they moved the Republic government to the 7 Hills of Rome, granted to the United States Corporation Company operatives at Washington District of Columbia, Roman Goddess. And that's what Washington, D.C. is. And of course, that's the corporate operations of the feudal autocracy. Feudal autocracy, taught in history as the U.S. democracy. Counter move to the Republic, Article 4, Section 4, as established by the Ordinance of 1787 after the adoption of the honesty rules of governance known today as the Constitution for the United States, coming from honesty confederation of Moors of the North that are referred to in history as, they'll call them, what's the name they'll give it? What's the name they give to Anasazi in history?
Saracens.
No, that's one of the names they in earlier history, but I'm
Right.
talking about in the reconstructed history here.
Oh, Negroes.
No, they give they'll tell the people that it's an Indian tribe. It's not a tribe, it's a confederation.
Okay, the Indians. Right.
No, what tribe is really Anasazi?
The Anasazi. They'll say that those are
Where do they say they got the Constitution from?
the Iroquois.
Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
So the Iroquois is really Anasazi.
Okay, and that's just the rebranding.
Yeah, in other words, they have to create layers in order to hide the history.
Right.
Also, keep in mind, they operate on the rule that whatever they create, they now have jurisdictional claim. They need to get our people to agree to be these things.
Right.
This is why they created the Bureau of Indian Affairs under the War Department, particularly with Calhoun.
Okay.
And got our people to divide against each other for a perceived sovereignty benefit to agree to be Indians.
Right.
And then they created that's the $5 Indian game they created. And so that's where you see our people
and everything.
Exactly. Start dividing amongst each other. Oh, we're the real Indians. You ain't. You the Africans. You ain't the real Indians. So we got the benefit. You don't.
Right.
Schism operations.
Big
if
schism.
You get the point.
Of course.
And this is why after even with some of the $5 Indians where they allowed them to make those casinos in the Midwest and they began to generate a lot of finance, then the Europeans took them over after the people developed them.
Right.
Because number one, they're indigenous, but they're not Aboriginal, and they're hybrids. They're not the real indigenous people we are. Right. And so they created the Indian brand so they have all rights under it. And when you look at all land claims and arguments relative to rights of land, you'll see the doctrine of discovery has been used constantly in all law cases to what? To revert the land from these people claiming to be Indians.
So they invoke the doctrine of discovery in case law.
We always tell people to look it up because it's documented. Yes. But our people, they get emotional, thinking that Indian's an identity. And they cling to it the same way they cling to the Negro black game, according to the cycle, whatever the hybrids would offer them. Tell them you're going to give them watermelon, a sandwich, and a piece of land, and they sell their babies.
Right.
And that has been traditional with us. Even soon as they put our people out of a job for 2 months, they go in the army, go around the world fighting their own people to keep this man empowered and come back and do marches because the Negro blackie guys don't get rewarded for their participation in red tails and stuff like that. And don't even understand they're under occupation.
Right. So for being Moriscos and Little Moors and being mercenaries and hired killers for Rome, right? Basically Roman soldiers. Is that correct?
So why would Rome or anyone else trust someone who will betray their own and then think that they're going to get a reward?
Right.
Look at all of the so-called black leaders among our people over the years, right? How many of them have generated millions and 90% of them go to their grave broke or owing the IRS?
Right. It's usually that IRS thing. Right.
Also, people should look up the exact act. I have it in my old notes, and I'll give that to you later. But it's along the line where they did the Suppression of Patents Act, and this is where they have thousands, 6,000 to 10,000 patents and copyrights of really ancient stuff that they preserve for themselves to make sure that the people here don't make progress. And so a lot of technologies that the people look at today as thinking is new technology, including computers, is really ancient. And of course, you already know the people are not to know this information. And this is, again, why a lot of people among our own who are Masons and Eastern Stars, who are compromised get upset when you bring up the Moorish paradigm.
Oh man, they are
because they don't want people to know that they got a Moorish fez. And if they got a Moorish fez, how come is it they don't know nothing about the Moors?
right. They refuse to even acknowledge it. They won't talk
No, their
about it
oath is to Rome.
because their oath is to Rome. Right.
Exactly. That's another reason why Asiatics and Africans around the world have limited to very little respect for so-called, I didn't say that's who they are, so-called black people, because they're looked at as traitors, but they think it's an identity.
Right.
That's problematic, but that's what it is. So many of our people who don't understand the long arm that they're treated with by Asiatics and Africans from other nation states, they don't know is because they don't trust us. And our people think it's an identity and then try to put the black codes on the other people and then get mad when they say they're not black. No different than, remember when Obama went on the Time Joyner show and
Yes.
Time Joyner asked Barack, he says, Mr. Obama, how's it feel to be the first black president? And Obama said, I'm not black. You know that black's a dead status. And our people got mad at him. Oh, he ain't trying to be black. He ain't did shit for the black man. And they don't even know he was sending them a signal of liberation.
Right.
But, you know, they cling to the black codes because so many alleged scholars among our own keep promoting it.
Right.
Now, remember when we went to Brooklyn years ago, just before Dr. Ben passed?
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, and they gave us awards and stuff like that. I still got the plaque somewhere. I think it's with Roz or something like that.
Right.
But when we were backstage and we were talking to him, you know, he admitted that the greatest part of his education, the capstone of his education, is when he went to the Moorish universities in Spain and admit our people are black and then are Moors and then turn right around, talk on the stage that these people are black.
I remember that.
Yeah. You know, and no different than when years ago when Farrakhan came here to Philly on where the old post office used to be. And when we came in the room, he told the people, Negro Sabato. It's Latin for black shoe. He said, when you're talking about things or objects, you say negro, which is Latin. But when you're talking about humans, you say Moro, our people are Moors. And he said that many times, but yet you see them guys that keep on hiding them tapes and videos of them, don't they?
I wonder why.
You know, so it ain't like we've been so innocent on our own, if you get the point.
Indeed.
And it's again why we tell people when you get into this information, don't come into this information with a self-righteous, arrogant mind. Because we haven't been all that honorable with our own people necessarily, if you get the point. So if people really knew, you know, the information that Malik, that they call Malcolm, found out and why he changed up, and also even Wallace or Elijah Muhammad's son, you know, they won't tell the real history where they came in the back door, murdered him in the bathtub. They don't tell that his real history because he broke off and was starting to tell the truth. But it is what it is. You know, we'll grow from it.
Right, we will eventually.
Yeah. And the nations have our history anyway. And because the nations of the world recognize that there's so many compromised people here at the Maghreb in the Western Hemisphere that they can't count on, keep on waiting for us to wake up. So they stopped buying the U.S. Treasury bonds, which were constructed in 1862, that builds the foundation of their bond systems that deals with 55 Water Street, the derivatives, and the so-called stock market. And so they stopped buying the Treasury bonds. That's what you're dealing with right now. And then, of course, as we were talking earlier, you know, with Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, etc., and South
nations.
Africa,
Yes, nation states.
That's why they're even up to as we're speaking now. What are they doing in Niger and Mali, etc.? And it's another one of the Asiatic African nations. They tell the hybrid Europeans of France, Pack your stuff, leave now. No discussion.
Yes, they are packing them up.
Which includes United States Corporation Company that our people still think is a country.
Right.
That's why I said to you, I'm going to also mail you their corporate papers, because remember, it's mostly our people among our own that keep on trying to say that it's a country. And this is the reason why they keep on saying America did this, America. They don't even know geography. They don't even know America's a continent. They think America's a country. So, but yet they keep claiming to be scholars. We don't need to criticize them. The world is exposing them now. So, but they have time to get on board and act like they know and stop selling their own people out, or they can go down with Rome. Because it's very clear that the nations of the world are no longer buying U.S. Treasury bonds, which means before this year is out, the stock market is going to crash. Now, so they can't hide anymore, because all their little corporate LLCs and their 501c3 corporate skull and bone contracts that they've made, whether in these churches or whether they deal with their LLCs, all that stuff is going to collapse.
Right. It's a bubble.
Bubble is an understatement.
It's definitely a bubble. Before we even continue, there's a lot of new students in the building. This is the first time that they're hearing this information. I did encourage everybody to take notes. However, this will be available for you to play back and pause. We'll turn the captions on so you could basically read the words that are being said, because this is a deep dive. This is a master teacher, and he's speaking, he's giving y'all information that are, for adepts and more. We will have the information on Patreon. We'll have some of the books. We'll also have some conversations that will help edify you more with this information as we move forward. But please continue.
And as you already know yourself, we've been teaching this for over 40 years.
Yes.
And then a lot of detractors will say, oh, that's that Moorish stuff. Ain't got nothing to do with us. It has to do with the whole world.
Right. Yeah, you read it. Don't got nothing to do with you. It has, like you said, it has something.
And Europeans are telling it now.
They are.
From Audubon Reese to others.
They are. I mean, I get why, what we would call freshmen or people who are just beginning, they find it hard to let go of crayon colors, or the fact that a color identifies them, where nobody around the world is suffering from that type of psychosis, where nations and flags are seen as honorable. And
that's why they're not taught Vixillum, which deals with flags.
Yes.
They don't understand the rule universal of heritability, dealing with corporal and incorporeal inheritances, right, and the right of inheritances and the lack of right of inheritance under the classification of minor and minority, which is a status to deny heritability. And they keep thinking it's an identity. Right. But the charge goes to our so-called leaders, including the fact that they've been training our people to think that colored is an African identity, when it's a legal status, which means artificial person distinguished from that which is real, a semblance, a simulacrum distinguished from that which is real, the hiding from reality.
Facts.
And they think it's a genetic issue.
Right.
And the world knows it. And then they get mad when people come here and they start making economic progress overnight and our people ain't figured it out yet.
Right.
And don't know that we ourselves keep agreeing to be outside of the human family, accepting these nom de guerre created by hybrid Europeans that they think are white people, not knowing it's a status, which means sovereign ruler of the land. And then we're always telling the people how spiritual we are, how much we know about Uwaspi, how much we know about the Quran, how much we know about the Emerald Tablets, how much we know about the Bible, how much we know about Septuaginta, how much we know about the Torah, and we're so spiritual. And everybody laughing at us all the way to the bank, and we keep getting mad. We need to get out of our ego and really start reading again. Our people will spend $200-300 for a pair of sneaks and get mad to spend $50 on a good dictionary.
The people perish for a lack of knowledge. You know what I'm saying?
But always claiming to be spiritual.
Right. And
what's on the dark side of the moon? They don't even know basic geography on Earth. They don't even know the name of this particular Earth is Midgard. But they're always talking about rulership. We need to get out of the ego, and we need to, make sure we have forums like this where information gets to the people, because these sellouts ain't going to tell them. Because soon as they start telling them the truth, they won't need the leader guys anymore, and it takes their hands out of their pockets. This is why when Malik found out, what was the password from the COINTELPRO operatives before they murdered Malik? They said, "Get your hand out of my pockets."
Right. Get your hand out of my pocket.
Translation, you tell the people this stuff, we won't be able to make finance off them no more. That's what that meant. And they still misrepresent that brother.
Facts.
To this very day, while claiming to love him. Yeah, right.
The person who they said killed him walked around Newark, New Jersey until he died of natural causes. So
both of them.
Right. Both of them. So it was shown, forget what people say, look more so about what they do. If the person who pulled the trigger walked around alive and everybody knew that he pulled the trigger,
but he was one. It was actually also some agents up in the balcony, because it was set up by the gangs of New York. Because you already know the gangs of New York is really the fraternal order of the police with 3 degrees of masonry.
But can we also
in contract with the United States Corporation Company?
Indeed. And I was also
our people need to know that. Our people need to be dragged, kicking and screaming and scratching out of their naivety.
Right.
And people need to stop telling them what they want to hear and tell them the real ugly truth about the Europeans and us too. It ain't like we totally innocent.
Could we get into that? Because, I don't like to be a romanticizer. And often, people hear about the great feats of the Moors, and they always act like, when they find out that there was some negative stories in the history, it's like a gotcha moment, because that's what this whole thing has turned into. WWF, it's just about gossip and tea and
a lot of it exaggerated, but the real truth of the matter is the tribes here have been battling for 1,000 years. Stop it.
So tribal warfare.
In general, we had about, say, maybe close to 1,000 years of peace here in the West, to be honest, and had skirmishes here and there. But the deal of it is, for power struggles, that was a lot of the foundations that a lot of the Europeans who came here with many of the Moorish nobles from Iberia, with the Huguenots, etc., start taking over and undermining. And this is also with the Daughters of the American Revolution that has that marble building at the district, which were descendants of many of the European women who were that have proof of descendancy from the harems. This is why you see the original plaque of the United States operation here with the small U on a brass plaque as you go into the houses of the Daughters of the American Revolution, and you go up on the second floor and you'll see Dolly Madison's clothes with her turban, etc. So now only hybrid Europeans can be a DAR, a Daughter of the American Revolution, and a sister can sweep the floor or she can cook, but she can never be a member of the DAR. Or and this is again when they had that incident with Benghazi with those weapons trading and stuff like that, and that ambassador, whose name was Chris, was killed, etc. And then you seen Hillary Clinton speak from the Ben Franklin room, and you see in the background. For those who are listening, just type in your phone. Hillary Clinton speaks from the Ben Franklin room on Benghazi, and you'll see the Al Moroccan flag which is the red flag with the 5-pointed green star in the background, and the trading banner that the people have been falsely trained as the national flag when it's actually the training banner. But again, the Secretary of State don't speak from the Ben Franklin room unless it's something very important, because Ben Franklin, remember, was one of the ministers plenipotentiary when the drafting of the treaty of the Europeans in agreement of operating here. This is one of the reasons why Obama, when he made the speech in Cairo, he talked about the Treaty of Tripoli and the oldest running treaty on the planet, because he's giving keys to the Moorish history here. And then you see Obama speak at Cairo, and you see Michelle breaks protocol and she goes through the Alhambra. Then you'll see a picture of them walking through the double doors, and you'll see the guard standing due guard to the right, and they crop out the trading banner, which people know as the Stars and Stripe, and you'll see the Al Moroccan flag with him standing due guard. That's a signal too. But most people who don't know the history, except Masons, Knights of Columbus, Ku Klux Klan, Illuminati, Knights of Malta, adepts, all know what they're looking at, but the masses didn't. However, that's a signal. So if any of you all listening, go look on, just call into your phone, say, Hillary Clinton speaks from Ben Franklin room about Benghazi, and then look at them flags right there. That's the real American flag. So it's not that it's not out there, but because it means the turnover of the rulership on the planet, they're going to do everything they can to suppress that information. However, the nations of the earth ain't buying their treasury bonds anymore, so it's only a matter of time that the stock market is going to crash anyway. They're just trying to hold it off to this election come. This is also why they try to get rid of Trump the other day. Because of Gassara and Nasara, the implication of Nasara and Gassara, that's why they try to get rid of Trump, but they missed. Because they need a crisis to crash the system. That's a distraction. So I think that after, they did to Trump what they did, and him being a conscience wig, I think he probably going to do a lot of more talking. Are we still live? And the other thing that the people need to look at as a point of reference is the Organic Act of Congress 1871. And this is where they converted or overthrew the Republic in order not to have or maintain an obligation to the treaties and Constitution. Because remember, when you're dealing with law, or what they refer to as the supreme law of the land, you're dealing with treaty and Constitution as one document. And of course, this is again why they do not teach civics. Definitively, they do not teach civics, particularly to our people here at North America who are not to know that they're aboriginal to the land and the proper heirs to the land, the true Al Moroccan.
I'm back, brother.
No surprise.
They
no
knocked me off my
surprise.
internet. Yeah, they knocked
No
the internet.
surprise.
Yeah, they shut it down.
No surprise.
Surprise at all. No surprise at all.
No surprise. I hope
let us continue.
Recorded somewhere.
Yes. We will continue. Thank you everybody for sticking in there and whatnot. We're back in the building. Let's shift the conversation. We were talking about the status of black being seen through the eyes of the law.
Black. So remember, these are things that will be helpful to the people. Write this down, you all. In propria persona. That's I-N propria, P-R-O-P-R-I-A.
Yes.
In propria persona. Just like person with an A at the end. in propria persona. That's one.
Yes. Which
Then,
translates to improper persona.
yes, in one's own proper person.
Yes.
Then you want to look at civil liter mortuus. Then look at its opposite, which is in full life. So keep in mind, all of these people among your own who are always talking about our people's rights and liberties, know, being Masons themselves secretly,
Yes.
know that what our people are seeking is in full life status.
Yes.
But they won't tell you, because then they break their oath, their skull and bones oath of the 501c3, controlled by Lyndon Baines Johnson, to control their marching Negro colored guy leader guys.
Right. The puppets.
Who are, and 90% of them always happen to be church guys.
Yes.
It's not accidental.
It isn't. There's a throughway, you know, and it's not
That's
a
rites of
conspiracy.
passage for them.
Right. Right. That is their rites of passage.
Yeah, yes. And it ain't got a damn thing to do with Jesusness.
Right.
Not the way the people think it is. Matter of fact, that's why the people are never told there's nothing wrong with Jesus, but Jesus is a password. And it means justice. And the name of the one that they call Jesus is Yeshua.
Yeshua. Yes.
But they will never speak his name, because he is of Moabite Canaanite blood. And his grandmother is named Ruth. That's why they say anyone that don't have them principles are referred to as ruthless.
Mm.
And who was Ruth? She was a Moabitess. What is the bloodline? Al-Moroccan. What is the short for the Al-Moroccans? Moor. So the people with hair like lamb's wool, skin like burner's brass, of Moorish descent, that they don't know that they're the real bloodline of what they refer to as Jesus.
Mm.
And the job of the Romans is to kill off the bloodline. That's why they've been mistreating you.
Right.
It ain't about your color. It's about your bloodline.
Right. It's bigger than your color. It's your
That's
bloodline.
why they are mistreating you.
Right. What's your family? What's your lineage? What's your DNA? What's your last name?
There you
What's
go.
your clan? What's your tribe?
And it's all over the planet. It's not on one side.
Right. Because wherever you are, that's where, you know, you are who you are before you got here.
This is why they keep on creating this paradigm of who was here first, to try to separate the people from the land.
Right.
That's called schismata operations. It's a military operation. King Alfred Rex 84, Executive Order 11490. Military operations.
Right. Confuse the people.
And to disconnect you from the land.
Right.
Mentally. That's what they also refer to as separating Egypt from Africa. Our people think they're talking geography. They're talking about your mind.
There's a question that we have where, and for the students in the audience, we will be taking questions. Let us get through the bill though. We're literally just unpacking the information right now. So please bear with us. We do have, well, let me ask this question. Islam, can you explain African American and what it has to do with the food company owning a patent? So the patent on African American.
African American was encouraged to be promoted by Jesse Jackson.
Yes.
In 68, 69.
Yes.
Jesse Jackson being a 33-degree Mason, also running for token, and I say that TOKEN office for the praetorship for Rome, when people of Asiatic descent basically can't be part of that order, if you get the point.
Yes.
But it's sort of like looking for approval. And so he introduced the African-American paradigm in around 68 to encourage our people to agree to that. And of course, that takes them under what you call the minority wardship tenures operation. So write this down, you all. WARDSHIP, wardship tenures, which is a legal status of persons held under those connotations. So people that are held under the Negro, Black, colored, Puerto Rican, Indian paradigm are all held under wardship tenures. This is why it's important for people to know the motive as to why Noble Drawley told these people to declare their nationality, to take you out of the code systems. And it's not a religion, it's a birthright restoration issue. And a lot of people among ours have misrepresented Noble Drawley too, because our people think it's a religion. But remember, the sellouts aren't supposed to tell them it's about trusts and estates, and that the only rightful claim or beneficiary of the states are those who are actually the people of the land. And you must name the people. You can't go by brand systems. This is another reason why they keep promoting the brand systems, which are known legally as nom de guerre.
Yes, nom de guerre. Please write that
Nom
down.
de guerre, which is also known as pseudonym, which all make such persons held to servitude under wardship tenures, which is why they're classified as, it's a classification as minority. It's a classification, not an identity. It's a socialization classification. Such persons have no right of inheritance.
Yes.
It's not opinion, that's law fact.
Yes.
There's another reason why a lot of so-called Black and Indian leaders get mad when you bring this up, because once you start really doing the research, it will expose them too.
Of course, they have something to hide. They're keeping
Because
the people blind.
they've been benefiting from the War Department with the $5 Indian game they've been playing with our people.
They gave them casinos. They gave them slot machines.
Yeah.
They
and then took that shit back too, didn't they?
Right. They took it right back as well. They gave them slot machines, cigarettes, firecrackers.
And after they built that stuff up, they took it back.
They took it right back. Of course.
It's theirs. They created it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they gave them the tax-free status.
Yeah. Well, temporarily.
Did you see the movie?
That none of the people of the tribes, they're riddled with drugs and alcohol.
Right.
And the only ones that got wealthy is the European corporate state and the assigned chieftains who all happen to be almost totally Europeans.
Right. Did you see the movie Killer of the Flower Moon, where they expose the how they did the brothers in Oklahoma, how they did the tribe in Oklahoma? Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro were in this movie that just came out. Did you see it?
Not just that, and you notice that they threw out the Tulsa case. You know that, right? From the court.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Against
because you already know they murdered the people and fed them to pigs.
Yes, they did. They committed a massacre.
Yes, and as a matter of fact, the pattern for the genocide here is what's used now in Canaan land that is known as Palestine right now.
Yes.
The pattern book was done on us first.
Right. They took everything.
Why even in modern day, what they did in Philadelphia when John Africa and Pam and them wouldn't allow their children to be subject to the mind control of the animal husbandry of the Board of Education. They bombed them from the air, didn't they?
They bombed them in Philadelphia, right out. Yep.
And right after that, from the chambers, do the research, they did the non-pro-tunk. Non-pro-tunk. And what is that? They sent a message out from the Philadelphia chambers saying that these people are not Black, Negro, colored, that they're Moors. It's documented.
Right.
It's called non-pro-tunk. How many of
Non-pro-tunk.
these people that claim to be indigenous will tell the people that information? They won't,
So
because
look at
it interrupts the War Department's operations with the $5 Indian beneficial game under Calhoun.
mm,
Play
and
Indian will give you a watermelon and a check.
right. And coincidentally enough, they bombed them on Osage Avenue, the move,
Exactly. And you
and
know Osage,
is the tribe
yeah,
that the killers of the
thank
flower
you.
moon is about.
Thank you.
Those were oil rich. That tribe had oil wealth, family. The same way in Tulsa, Oklahoma, what they call Black Wall Street. They had oil wealth. They were sitting on
And
top of resources.
and what they also didn't tell the people is that that was the wealthiest bank on the land. It wasn't just that, the oil, they robbed the bank
They robbed the bank. Yes, yes,
and they bombed
pillaged.
them from the air.
Yes, they did. They
And so the
pillaged
people
that.
don't know that the US Army is really the Jesuit army.
Mm. And and this is Christendom.
It's an operation, a military operation,
A
got a damn
military
thing to do
operation.
with what people think religion is.
Right.
You know, the masses don't get religion, they get dogmata. Counterfeit religion, counterfeit money, counterfeit education.
Right.
And then they're going to tell you about Afrocentricity, or they're going to tell you about indigenous people, don't even know it's a classification, think it's an identity.
Mm.
And argue.
Till they fall out.
So we got to fix it, because the world is waiting, but the world ain't waiting no more. They're dumping the U.S. treasuries, aren't they?
They are. They got fed up.
They call it, in order to hide it, they'll call it de-dollarization, when what it really is decolonization.
Right. For everybody in the building, can you briefly speak on the dirty Moors, and can you speak on the brutish Moors, please?
The brutish Moors have to do with the Moors that held both their own people and Europeans to slavery, to what they call, because remember, slave is an identity. It's not a condition. It deals with the Slovakian Germanic tribes that were conquered by the Red Russians, and some of them who were brought here. And so what they did, they reversed the history and put the black codes on us. Because remember, the hybrid European is really the black man. And the Moors here are really the white people. They traded places. That's what the Knights of Columbus Ku Klux Klan oath is.
Right.
So our people have been trained that it's genetics. When it's not genetics, it's status.
Right.
This is also why here at Philadelphia, on that small street in South Philly, they did that movie with Eddie Murphy,
Trading
places.
Trading places.
And they have him on a dolly, looking like he don't have legs, which means he don't have foundation.
You don't have no
foundation. And the theme of the movie was the stock market.
Yes, the stock market, because we the stock.
And he's debating with the European trading places, because they're telling you signaling what took place at Carpenter's Hall with the Odd Fellows right down there, 2 blocks down from Independence Hall, and you already know the changing of the records there. And again, back to the Mummers Parade again. And this stuff is not unknown by scholars, but you already know they're not going there, because most of them have a 501c3 skull and bones agreement in their quote unquote black Negro church organizations.
Facts. They locked in.
So they're not going, they ain't going along with this exposure, because it exposes them too.
They get free ribs, gas card, frequent flyer miles. Yeah, they going for the perks.
Yeah, $60 million plane.
Yeah, that's what the 501c3 will get them. They going for the perking.
Little boys and little girls for favors.
Yes.
And don't think that ain't real, because it is.
Yes, to feed their dysfunction, to feed that quote unquote their vices, and
including contaminating rap and taking it over, just like they did with the Niagara movement,
Right.
controlled by Khazarian operatives pretending to be JEWS.
Yes. And this is a mob. These operatives that
That's who really owns the United States company. And our people need to know it's a company. It is
right,
not a country.
right,
It's a company operating and presented as a country. It is run from Davos, Switzerland.
right.
United States corporation company whose corporate papers I have, which I'm going to mail to you, Red Pill. Of
Thank
course,
you.
we've been talking about it for years, but this is
Yeah.
for the detractors that will definitely come on and try to dismiss what you're discussing.
Yes, indeed. I look forward to them. And I also look forward to feeding these students that are very hungry for this knowledge to break them out of this paradigm that they might be stuck in. Because, like you said, the internet conscious leaders, the everybody
Which
that they're
is a
putting out,
misused term.
huh?
Which is a misused term.
Very much so. Very much so. And you were there to witness everything. That's why me and you could talk so candidly. There are certain teachers that I can't go all the way in.
We've been talking for years, so a couple of decades. So it's like this, like
No,
everyday conversation with us.
we've been witnessing. Not only have we been talking, but we've been witnessing this community both grow, fall, splinter.
That would be called schism operations of military operations. Schismata is the military term that is used officially in Executive Order 11490, which means divide and conquer.
Yes, yes, indeed.
It's always been there. We know better, but those who are sincere will persevere. That's why you're still doing the work that you're doing after all these years. Because remember, as you already know, many people have come and gone.
Yes, they
Since we
have.
were in Harlem, since we were on 128th,
Yes,
you've seen a lot of them come and go. And a lot of them has taken information that we've shared with them freely and start selling it to the people.
Yes, they have. They put price tags on the
Yes, they did.
information. They package it up as redemption. They created bundles.
Yep.
They took people for a ride. They fleeced a
Mhm.
lot of people. Um, we've had, rebel rousers. We've had
That's
COINTELPRO
the dirty
operatives.
Moore syndrome.
That's the Dirty Moore syndrome. We've had
Yeah,
infiltrators who created divisions.
exactly.
Um, we've had people who have fulfilled COINTELPRO 2.0 in so many ways in front of
They
the
do what
people.
they do, but guess what? That's why we're having the conversation today. You know,
That's
it's
a
sort of
fact.
like fireworks. They come in, they make big splashes, impress the people, get in their pockets, and then the people gradually, as they grow, wake up.
Yes, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So I would always encourage everybody to practice what they call the art of discernment, because theoretically speaking, this is your rites of passage. It falls on you. It does fall on you when you make those mistakes and you are trustworthy and you're not utilizing your
And also, that's
God-given.
part of their learning curve, too, brother,
It is.
from
It
divinity.
definitely is.
You
Huh?
know, how you say to harden them up, get
Yes.
their asses kicked,
Yes, indeed. Yes,
because
indeed. Nope.
it ain't like we've been totally innocent.
Yes, indeed.
We've been hard-hearted, hard-headed, and rebellious.
Yes, we have been.
Mother Nature don't recognize personal station.
That's a
But when
fact.
you get the lesson, it will be grounded.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
And now the Europeans telling you because they're dissolving the middle class. Because remember, they weren't supposed to be thrown under the bus. They're supposed to be the beneficiaries of our estate. But they're dissolving the middle class, and they're trying to tell everything they can. And everybody think they're anti-government, sovereign citizens, and all that kind of stuff, all that fakery.
Right.
And they're trying to tell because they weren't supposed to be thrown under the bus.
Right. So now when they're holding the bag and whatnot, they're on the losing side. There was a
Mhm.
video by a European. His name is Grant Cardone. and he was on a podcast. He was on with Vladimir, DJ Vlad, who is an agent, and Grant Cardone, who claims to be a billionaire, was giving out basically a chart of the top earners in America, or the race who are the ones with the greatest gross domestic or GDP or whatever. So he said that the Indians, right, were at the top of that pyramid. And then he said the Asians, I believe, right, were there as well. Then he said the JEWSs were under them, and then the quote unquote white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, the white man, right? And then under that, he said was the Negro, the black people, and then were Hispanic, and then blacks, and the blacks were at the bottom, right?
That's the caste system.
He called the brown people. He called Indians the brown people, and he also called Latinos brown people. So that right there just showed how crazy of a misnomer, because the Indians don't walk around saying I'm brown. Family,
nope.
You can't get an Indian person.
They know the code system,
right? And people from Latin America, they don't be like, "Oh, I'm brown. I'm a brown person. We're brown power." They're not talking like that. They're saying Ecuador, huh?
Yeah, Red Pill. When Anderson .Paak, right?
Yes.
All right, and the Free Nationals.
Yes.
You listen to some of their like one of their shows they did at the Tiny Desk.
They had a Tiny Desk show. Yes.
Yeah, and you'll see that the Latino brother says to the brother playing the piano, he says, "You're Moor and we're Moros." He said, "Yeah."
You're the Moros, right? The Morenos.
But you know how many of our people that go over their head?
They say amor de rey.
Yeah, because they know they're Moors. But our people don't know, because they keep thinking that we're different people. We're different tribes of the same people.
That's a fact. Tribes, family. And when tribes come together, they form confederates or confederacies.
That's what the Powhatan Confederation is. That's what the Anansi Confederation is. And the two major confederations of the Moors of the Maghreb was the Powhatan, they'll say Powhatan, and that's Wahhasunakuk that most of people hear about.
Right.
And so Wahhasunakuk's daughter is known as Matawaka. And so they rewrite that Moorish history as Pocahontas. Right. Ain't no such thing as Pocahontas. That's Matawaka, Potentess, daughter of Wahhasunakuk, one of the chieftains of Powhatan Confederations of the South.
See, that's the language. Just by you reciting these names and speaking in the ancient tongue and whatnot, it's uplifting. Just the frequency of that. Do you know what the what language, or what was the word that we were using?
This is what you will discover when you go into linguistics.
Yes.
That what they recall is the Algonquian and Powhatani dialects here, because we have actually over 500 families that we would refer to as nations. But you already know the Europeans concentrated on genociding us out. That's why it was necessary for them to create the Negro, Black, Colored, Indian, Latino, etc. Just like they promoted to the people that Moorish Latin, which is one of the main languages, is Spanish. Ain't no such thing as Spanish. That's Moorish Latin. So in order to hide it, they will call people who still spoke the language as Latinos, which is a fiction. They're Moros. They're Moros and mixed Moors of Taino and Arawak, Carib, Moorish tribes of the South Gate. That's who they are. They're your family.
Real quick, when you speak about the Moors from the South Gate, those tribes that identify themselves as the Arawak and Taino.
Arawak and Taino mainly amongst the Carib Moors.
The Carib Moors, right.
Including Ayiti And this is again why the Franciscan Brotherhood has been robbing IAT for all these years under the Unum Sanctum operations, because the Unum Sanctum is the US. That's a church bull. It's not a country. And this is why they've been robbing them. And this is why they won't tell you the true history of Toussaint, who was helping to restore the Republic. That's why they murdered him.
Right. And when we speak of these Tainos and these Arawak tribes, it takes me back to the research that I've did on King Philip's War, right? And we know that that's an anglicized name and whatnot, but the king, go ahead.
In relationship to what you just said, remember a couple years, Duarte, if those who are listening, Duarte was the president of what? Philippines.
Yes.
What did he say a few years ago? He said they call us Filipinos, but we're really Moors.
He did say that. He did say that.
A lot of people have been telling our people, but our people, caught up in the black codes and the $5 Indian game created by the War Department under Calhoun, thinking they're going to get a benefit.
Right.
But again, we're growing out. The fact that people are debating these issues are good because they got to work it out. So I don't condemn them because they're trying. You have a lot of more people trying to fix this thing. And the fact that they're arguing identity, which means it's an issue, it's on the table, they're going to have to work it out. But they're going to have to learn, even if it's the hard way, in propria persona su juris su heritis, to have the claim to the land that they want to have. But it'll work itself out.
It will. It will. We are actually in the process. I'm in Atlanta. We're in the process of forming a debate league out here. So it could be done the right way because we know.
Yeah, and it's important. Oh, so I'm going to make sure I'm going to send you also the original article of Amendment 13 with its 20 sections. That'll be useful to you too.
Okay.
This is so our people will recognize that they can never be U.S. citizens.
Right.
So stop wasting your time trying
to be one. Right. And that's a great segue.
And the William Dungy case of 54, superseding the Dred Scott case, which is the measure of civil status position at North America and used by most scholars. The Dred Scott case of 57. I'm gonna make sure that you have the William Dungy case of 54, which supersedes and shows you proof of even Abraham Lincoln, when he was a lawyer before he was praetor, defending William Dungy on slander. And what was the issue? Even though he was Portuguese, his bloodline is Moor. That's what won the case. That's why they don't teach that. They always talk about the Dred Scott case, won't they?
They always give you the Dred Scott case.
But they avoid that William Dungy case. But guess what?
Dungy?
We got the documents. So have fun with that too.
Can you spell Dungy?
Dungy, they will call it Black Bill, and the so-called Black Codes of Illinois. Do the research. Because remember, some of it's on internet, but as people start studying, they start taking stuff down.
Oh, for sure.
But it doesn't matter because I'm gonna mail it to you anyway.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna have a study group for my Patreons, for my KT aliens, so we could get this thing right.
And we'll keep in touch in the future, and I'll make sure you have other documentation.
For sure. We definitely will.
Because remember, when you do this work, they're all automatic. It doesn't arrive. It's already inculcated in the political structure that you will have infiltration.
Right.
But when you got documentation, how do you say, it weakens their argument.
Right.
Or they're trolling, as you might say, they're trolling, which they're guaranteed to do.
Oh, they definitely are guaranteed to do. I know their receipts are like kryptonite. It neutralizes. It's like, remember Raid back in the day with the when you would spray it and everything would just die. Yeah, that's what this information and these receipts and this research is able to do. I know what we're up against, Brother Taj. I know how deep the programming is. I know that, you know, it is hard to let go of beliefs that you basically were fed like baby food. It compromises your DNA.
That's what it's
Our
designed
people,
for.
that's what it's designed for. Our people live in fear of letting go of what
And
they conceive as a norm.
that's referred to as, from a genetic mutation point of view, as psychic attack.
Yes, psychic attack.
That makes you change your own DNA, takes you out of yourself.
Mm,
It's a counter redemption operation. And so it's also called dark art.
yes, yes, the dark arts. You know,
Hmm.
and the people that we've identified as, you know, the oppressors and the ones who are in a who have taken the oath to suppress our people through time immemorial. You know, this is what they utilize. They utilize the dark arts. They work in the shadows. They utilize the there's a dark government, or what they would call a deep state,
It's a
or
cabal.
a
It's a
shadow
cabal.
government. It's a cabal, right?
It's really the Khazarian, write this down, you all, Khazarian mafia,
Right,
fronting as JEWS,
right,
who really own the board of trustees of the Circle Church and Chancery that you know as congressmen and senators of the United States, which is
right,
unum sanctum operations, not a country.
right, right.
If you keep that in mind, you keep your mental politics clear.
You keep them very clear. You have to look
Once you
at,
forget that, you fall for the narrative.
right, because you can't see what we've been taught in school is that when you see a banker, or when you've been taught to school, when you see a CEO, or when you see a board inside of a company, that these people have no way, that you don't see criminality, you don't see mafia, you don't see
That's
a
all
robber
they know.
baron. You look at these people
In their
because
mind, they think
Mhm.
they're looking at elected officials of the US democracy. They
Right,
don't know that they're looking demons right in the face.
right in the face.
Got
And
two arms and two legs.
exactly. There are three companies that basically sit on the board of every Fortune 500 company, because these three companies control the 401ks, and these companies control basically the monies of working class people. They're
That would
able to,
be that would be BlackRock,
yes,
Vanguard,
yes,
State Street, the main
State
ones.
That's right. So these entities, right? These quote unquote,
All
uh,
foreign,
huh?
all foreign.
Right. All foreign. And they have the voting rights. Keep in mind, family, that when you sit on a board of a company and you utilize the people's money to buy shares in these companies, right? So they have your money, the people, these companies that he just named,
No,
these three
let's
companies.
slow down. Let's slow down. Let's
Okay.
slow down. Because one of the things that we have to make clear to our people, because you're dealing with high priest warlocks,
Yes.
for real. The masses are not allowed to have money.
Right.
You're
Right.
dealing with vouchers of
Right.
private commercial paper under classified fiat, run from Davos, Switzerland, and with the court systems run from Fleet Street, England, of the Circle Church and Chancery. Those are vouchers that are tied to 12 regencies that are divided on the land under Inquisition revenue operations known to you as the IRS.
Oh.
As soon as you call it money, you accept the liability. Stop calling it money. It is not money. They
Right.
are vouchers to the sister QV trusts. Keep that in mind.
Yes. Yes.
Because
So
remember, every time we repeat the lies, we're actually enforcing the system that we're trying to defeat.
because of the power of the tongue.
Because we're casting spells. That's why they trained us under animal husbandry. That our people don't know that they're trained under animal husbandry. They think they have an education. They don't know that erudition is for humans. Education is for animals.
Say that again.
Erudition, erudition is for humans.
Right.
Education is for animals, for farm animals.
God damn.
Read now. For those who are listening, go on your phone and look up the philosophy page of John D. Rockefeller and Frederick T. Gates. And I know you're familiar with that Gates name.
Yes.
Because they control the biological viruses that are patented that they've been putting in these people's arms to shut down their pineal gland.
And in the food too, Baba.
Exactly.
Food.
And it's animal husbandry.
Damn.
They even tell you, because remember, from a karmic perspective, they tell you what they're going to do to your children.
So they got us in a stable?
Huh?
They got us in a stable, bro?
They call it a plantation.
God damn.
What are the plantations? What? GM, automobile plant.
Right. They're the planters.
Tyson food plant.
Right. These are the planters.
Plantations.
And these are the traders and the trappers.
Why do you think they made traffic court?
Because they traffic.
Is traffic court in treaty or constitution? No, it is not.
Damn.
What are when they give people the tickets? They're known as foreign bills of exchange. When you know that, you can learn how to beat them.
Right.
Never call them tickets. They're foreign bills of exchange, and challenge the magistrate to the treaty and constitution and his solemn oath, and watch them get twisted in the face.
That's crazy.
No, our people need to know this, because you already know most of these leaders ain't going to tell them that. They always got their hands in their pockets.
Oh, for sure.
It takes finance to do things, but you can't sell birthright.
Right.
It's unalienable. No lien to be placed on it.
Facts.
Thank you very much.
Facts.
That's why they get mad when you start giving this information. Oh, that's that Moorish stuff. That ain't got nothing to do with us. Yeah, they're trying to bury their own people.
That's
That's another reason why a lot of people come from other nation states don't have respect for most of these so-called black leaders, because they know that they know better.
Right.
And they know that they're compromised.
And
they know that our people are being taxed under the Negro Act, which is why we don't have any economic power in our communities.
Facts.
Taxes that don't even apply to us, but our people need or keep agreeing to be Negro black people, and colored people don't even know is the Christian black codes makes them taxable, because at that point they're property.
Let us pivot, my good brother Taj, because we're going on to the 2-hour mark. I don't want to have you here.
We'll talk in the future.
Yes.
And make sure you send me a location care of with
right.
zip exempt. Make sure that's on the mail.
Okay, I will definitely.
And so I can mail you some stuff.
Right. We got about.
And we'll do this again in the future.
Yeah, we got about 15 to 20 minutes left. I want to shift the conversation into one of the hot button topics that is capturing a lot of people's minds and their hearts. The way that it's been told to our people this is how it happened, Taj, right? I'm going to give you the timeline on how the fear campaign was put upon black people or melanated people or Moors in the last month, right? This is a new campaign. It was the night we were doing a lecture called When in Rome, with the sister Vicky Dillard. Shout out to Vicky.
Mm-hmm.
And simultaneously, there was a program on BT called the BT Awards. And the host, who goes by the name of Taji Henson, I believe, she's the sister from Baby Boy. Taraji, I'm sorry, Taraji. My sister Taraji. Yes. So Taraji was reading from a teleprompter, and she was reading from a prepared script. And she said, while looking in the camera, I want everybody to Google Project 2025. But the way that she said it, Brother Taj, she didn't say it she did not say it in a brave type of, she didn't say it in a courageous way. She didn't say it in a way where it was like, we got these people. She said it in a way that was enveloped in fear, right? It was a fearful message. You need to read this, y'all. You got to see what they're trying to do to our people, y'all. Oh my goodness, y'all. If y'all don't go out and vote, y'all. And she was on the phone with Kamala Harris, who I believe they're going to name as the new contender against Donald Trump for the presidency as soon as tonight or tomorrow.
Let's keep this in mind.
Yes.
Kamala is not black.
Yes, she's of the Indian tribe.
No, she's Hindustani.
Hindustani, yes.
All right, because remember that's Sindha. Because we keep in mind the reconstructed history, they know that ain't India.
That's right.
And they know that's Indian is a name made up by the Europeans here on the Moors. When they took over the trade routes, trying to take over the trade routes of Madagascar, they said this is where the term West Indies come from.
Yes.
And this is how most of our people keep thinking that they're Indians.
I mean, I don't mean to interrupt your wisdom. We have a video, I'm going to look for it, where we were playing, somebody was reading from a book, and it described the Carolinas, Virginia, and other parts of Northwest Mexico as the West Indies. This was from a book written in the 1800s. We got the receipts, but please continue.
This is why they make George Washington's memorial right on the geographical longitude and latitude borderline for Virginia and Maryland. That's called code-wise in Masonry, Virgin Mary.
Okay.
And this is why they did the movie Birth of a Nation in the palace that they call White House, which means Casablanca.
Facts.
They be cool telling you.
Yes.
And then you see, what, 20 to 30, something like that, they made the movie Casablanca, Morocco.
Right.
They're letting you know where you are.
Right. So let me continue about this spell that they casted with this quote unquote, how they utilize this political theater to cast spells. So the trend, I went to Google Trends, and the searches for Project 2025 quadrupled after that night, right? It completely spiked. So melanated people who don't understand those 900 pages of what they were reading were beginning to get put into a fearful place once they started reading the doctrine that is being proposed, and it's being entitled Project 2025. And then a chain of events begin to happen to basically put Donald Trump into a specific type of light in the eyes of Democrats, especially melanated women, Moabites, right? Because those are the real hard card carrying members who are holding on to this thing about the Democrats. So
yeah, remember, they don't even know that the Democrats is really the Cotton Wigs, which is really Kaiklos, which is really the Ku Klux Klan against their damn self.
Against themselves, exactly. The Democrats, who were originally, before they switched it up, like you said, and was
they're really the Cotton Wigs. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 1854 Convention, Knights of Columbus, Ku Klux Klan oath.
Right.
Coming under the reconstructed title of democracy.
Right.
And they've been funding their own enslavement and the breakup of their own families.
And being loyal to it.
Not just that, They told them that they were going to get them a benefit because they cared for women's right, and convinced them to do child sacrifice to the tune of over 20 million since 1970. And it's called the Abortion Act.
Yes.
That is a demon ritual of child sacrifice. And these people fell for it, killing their own offspring.
And stood behind that. Like that was like.
And think it's women's rights. They helped them genocide themselves. That's how asleep they are.
Right. And then when we were Republicans, if we were to do the research, we were
that's treaty and constitution, not the party. This is what people need to understand. It is not the conscience Whigs party. It is the treaty and constitution coming from Honor Honesty Confederation and the ordinance of 1787 preserving the rights of Aboriginal indigenous people on the land in trade with the Europeans, which is the 6 white stripes on the trade banner that they call the Stars and Stripes, which is an amity and commerce flag. It's not a national flag.
Right. They fly that on ships.
It's trading. It's a trading banner.
It's a trading banner. Right. So our people.
That's why you got the 7 red stripes with the Sabian Moors. That's your 7 right there.
Okay.
All of us coded, but it's not a secret. It's just held back from our people. So our people think it belongs to somebody else, not themselves.
Right.
Just like the Confederate flag is ours too. Our people don't know that.
And that belongs to.
They get triggered every time the men pull it out, don't they?
Every time they see the flag, but the flag ties back to the Confederacy.
They get triggered.
Oh, they get very triggered.
And don't know the history.
They get very triggered.
They don't even know it's dealing with constellations. They don't know the July the 4th is not their so-called Independence Day. That's the heliacal rising of Sirius from behind the sun, also called the Black Sun.
That's a fact.
So our people need to know their Asiatic history. They've been blinded to hate themselves and don't know it.
Beautiful information.
And so what the issue that Taraji was talking about is really Rex 84.
Yes.
Technical Manual, Military Operations.
Yes.
Executive Order 11490, 1969, King Alfred, given a modern name. It's a pre-existing dynamic of genocide operations. That's what it is.
Yes. And this the remix that they invented, or the rebranding of that, would be Project 2025, is what you're saying?
Exactly. And all of it goes back to Unum Sanctum Operations, which is known as the U.S. Unum Sanctum, Dum Diversus, Romanus Pontifex, Intercatera Divina, Sister QV Act 1666, collectively known as Doctrine of Discovery. And that's how they rule these people here that think people are crayons. Grown people that are referred to as boys and girls, minors, because they're the only human beings that think that human beings are crayons, and promoted among their own children. Not knowing they're under mind control. Damn. And always claiming to be spiritual. And everybody goes to the bank on their backs, but they're going to tell you about gods and devils. A total disgrace to humanity. And arrogant and self-righteous about it too.
And will fight you.
That's why they say they consent to slavery. Don't they say that?
That's facts.
Well, there you go. Then they get them together in Las Vegas and told them to sign non-disclosure agreements and change rap into mind control for the private prisons.
Yep, that meeting in
And they
1991 is
corrupted rap ever since. And everybody that signed the contract end up losing their portfolios, dying in bathtubs, over or dying of
overdoses.
drugs, or
Right,
dying mysteriously, and always being broke.
right. And the
And our
Khazarian,
people ain't even put it together yet. And look, you
right.
got a whole trail of dead artists, and our
Yeah,
people ain't
got
put
it.
it together yet.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And that mob, the ones who are,
The Zarian operatives own the recording industry.
they
And
own
as
the
soon as you
recording
sign that
industry.
contract, you've given up your soul.
That's a fact. They got
And
you.
right now, because the shit's falling apart, they're sacrificing Diddy.
Right.
And next, they're going to sacrifice Jay-Z.
He's after Diddy. Yep.
Yeah,
They
well, hey,
dismantling.
it's in your face.
Yeah,
It's
it's
never hit.
the those paradigm. I was having a real deep build today with my good brother, and we were building on this whole Diddy thing, and I was explaining to him he's younger, so he wasn't around, he wasn't alive during the shiny suit era, and I was explaining that P Diddy represented aspiration rap. He's a living, breathing archetype of what the whole industry was created on. It started with him.
They were put in position.
Of no, he was
People
put in
don't
big
know
position.
that Diddy's father
Mm-hmm.
worked with Deep State under King Alfred with the so-called drugs in our community,
Right,
and
because that's the operation.
they had him bumped off, and Diddy was groomed for his position.
That's a fact.
That's the truth.
Fact.
And
That's
he's not a bad person. He was groomed for that position.
right. That is a
And
fact.
the negative and the reason why he was able to do all the shit he'd been doing and still walk the street is because he's a confidential person. He's
Mm-hmm.
protected
Oh, of
because he's
course.
doing it
Yeah,
for them.
for them. Right, right. He's definitely protected. He's giving carte blanche to
For them.
basically right for
And as a
them.
matter of fact, he's also being blamed for a lot of things that they actually did.
That's a fact. You
But
know what I mean?
he can't say to the contrary.
Right. He cannot blow that whistle, pause, and he can't reveal what he knows. But please know, and that's the thing that our people don't realize.
You know
you
what we said earlier today, and I'm
yes.
gonna say it again. Our people need to really begin to recognize that one of the missing keys of knowledge with us as a people here is the platform and discipline of geopolitics.
Yes.
I repeat, one of the missing components with our people is a lack of knowledge and discussion on the platform known as geopolitics. And with that, I yield the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Also, contract law and jurisprudence.
And
But I
juris.
already know y'all already on that key. But do what you do. And again, I commend you for your perseverance and your strength, and your brother too. Give the family the greetings for me,
I most definitely will, my brother. I
and keep
appreciate
up
you.
your good work.
Um, the good news, family, is that we have a panel on Monday, Melanin Monday. Brother Taj will return. I need y'all to tap in with the with the channel. Make sure y'all subscribe. Make sure you share this show. This is a classic. The brother came through and delivered another classic effortlessly. And we look forward to bringing him back to give us more information. Like I said, this is food for soul. This is food that we want you to definitely go out and do your research on. Do not sit around and utilize this as a feel good session to basically, because it was not feel good on purpose. This was information overload, so you could go ahead and do your research and begin to go ahead and walk on your and you know and start your journey and go down that rabbit hole and come back with the right questions so you could be more enlightened and we could, you know, because we are in the quickening, so it's time to speed up this information and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
um Brother,
But remember, ain't nobody gonna save us but us.
nobody, not a person, you feel me, not a person.
You got to
um
activate that pineal gland.
Indeed. I know that there's a lot of questions. I know that people may want a lot more information. Just know that, you know, we can't take everything in at once in one night or in one sitting. This is a lot of information. This is good for, you know, your preliminary journey. You know what I mean? You got a lot tonight. Y'all got a lot. Pause this, write things down, use the AI for research purposes and whatnot to help you with any questions that you may have. Write questions down. For my Patreons, we have some announcements to make where we'll be giving you access to more information, deeper information, the literature, the books, the research, the notes, everything that you need. On Monday, we have a panel. We are bringing the Moors, the heavy hitters in the building. We have Sharif Anil Bey. We got brother Taj Tariq Bey. You dig what I'm saying? And we also have our good brother Sabir coming through, Sabir Bey, and we have our brother, the Minister of Information. So the family was asking for this. I get a lot of inboxes, and there are people inquiring about the movement. They are inquiring about processes. They are inquiring about information, and it is our duty to serve. It is our duty to give the people what they are looking for. So we're going to load you up, leading up to July the 28th, the lecture that we have, Fear of a Black or More Messiah. We're going to be loading you up with Moorish information. We're going to be giving you the rightful, because the time is now, especially with these elections coming up, these selections coming up during the Jason month in November. It is definitely time to get acquainted with jurisprudence, civics, heritage, and all things that you really need to know rather than being distracted.
And that's called geopolitics.
That's called geopolitics, family. So the class is in session. We are going to be doing some deep diving. We're going to be learning. And yeah, you know, it's that time. Um, Real quick, do you have time for two questions from the
Right
audience?
on. Go ahead, good brother.
Okay, so let me get two questions from the audience. I'm thinking about y'all. I don't want to just dip on you. If we have two questions from the audience and you have them ready, please put them in the chat and I will ask them, and then you know, we'll get you right. Do you have a Cash App by any chance, Brother Taj?
No, I don't usually. If you send anything, send it to Dr. G, House of
Okay.
Reawakening Minds.
All right. Let me write down that Cash App
Dr.
right
G.
there. Dr.
Yeah,
G.
you'll see it on the House of Reawakening Minds.
Oh, is it you? The name of her Cash App is Dr. G?
No, it'll be on the ticker tape. House of Reawakening Minds.
Oh, okay. You don't have it right off the top.
That's where I no, that's where I do my classes mainly. Because
Okay.
remember, as you already know, over the years, I've never asked directly for funds.
No, definitely. I already know. I already know. If y'all don't know, family, I just want to let you know the brother Taj Tariq Bey he has multiple skills that he does. He's an active Moor, right? He's an industrious Moor. Can you tell him some of the skill sets that you know, some of the things that you do with your hands?
Oh, well, I've delivered 4 children, including my son and my nephew.
Beautiful.
I do body work. I can cut 2 cars in half, put them back together. You wouldn't know it.
Beautiful.
I build houses. I can design. I build custom furniture. I can sew. I'm a chef and multiple other things.
Yes, yes. You know, they don't make them like that no more. You know what I mean? I just had to remind the family, you
And,
know,
and I built a community center, a Moorish community center in Buena Vista.
and Buena Vista. Wonderful. You know, This is what Moors do, family. You know what I mean? When people want to know about Moors and y'all ask questions, Moors is not just you can't find us in a dictionary and you can't define us online.
People need to understand that Moor is a nationality, is a bloodline, it's not a belief system.
Right. It's not a belief system. It's not a
It's
religion.
not a religion.
It's a bloodline.
It's a
It's a nationality.
It's a pedigree. Moor is modern, keep in mind,
Right.
modern short for Moroccan, which is also Al-Moroccan, which is Moors of the Western Hemisphere, commonly referred to as Americans.
Facts.
So when you're saying American, you're saying Moor. When you're saying Moor, you're saying American.
And when we
But
say
you're talking
American,
about the Canaanite, Moabite tribes of the ancient world in the Maghreb or the Western Hemisphere. That's the distinction. So bloodline pedigree.
and I want to also add on that the Americas are South America, Central America, North America, and the Caribbean
adjoining islands.
Right.
Known as Americana.
Americana. This is not relegated to North America, these fake 50 states that these people created and told you. We are part of a continental empire.
That's right. From the tip of Chile to the top of Greenland.
Thank you. The first question is, any book recommendations?
For all of you, as a standard protocol, so that a lot that we may share with you makes sense to you, you have to have at least a 4th edition and back of Henry Campbell Black's Law Dictionary of Ancient and Modern Jurisprudence Deluxe. And you also want a high quality, older etymology dictionary for starters. Then for those of you who want to know some of the real history, go to Gerald Massey, European scholar, who they don't like because he tells a lot of the real history.
Right.
Also deal with David McRitchie, Ancient and Modern Britons.
Volume 1.
1 and 2.
Yes.
And of course, you're going to deal with the trading, world trading, and you're going to deal with the Moors of the East, the Moors of the West and the East from 1700s. And you're going to deal with the beginning of the United States, i.e., there's a Civil War book, but it's not available to most of you because that book will cost you $3,600. They'll make sure that you don't get it. That's why. But we will give you notes from it.
Okay.
But don't think that this stuff is not known. It is known by the world. But we have been what? The food for the world and don't know it.
Mm.
That's why so much effort is put to make you hate yourself, disguised as you learning your history.
Right.
BS. You're the direct descendants of the founders of civilization. That's the real truth. That's called also the Great Masonic secret. You, yourself, are the secret.
Right.
Never to know yourself. That's the oath. That's the foundation of your mistreatment that they've been telling you is racism. It isn't racism. It's hybrid European Germanic tribe hegemony operations under unum sanctum.
Under unum sanctum.
Falsely referred to as white supremacy.
Did y'all hear that? Can you repeat that real quick for those that may be in the back?
What is actually dealing with is hybrid European hegemony operations. That's what it actually is. Under unum sanctum bulla, known as the US, and the doctrine of discovery, falsely tagged in history or hidden under white supremacy, which is a contemporary term to distract you from reality. Because really, you're the white people. They traded places.
Okay. This next question that we have a lot of questions. Family, like I said, we are coming together on Monday. We have a panel, and I showed you that we have a very heavy lineup. We'll be able to field the rest of your questions on Monday. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification so you're notified, and that's your role. You have to be responsible for being alerted when things are taking place. We're doing our part. All you have to do is your part. The brother's Cash App is on the ticker right there. Please acknowledge that you see it. House of Reawakening Minds and Richfield 44 is our channel's Cash App as well. This program, this platform, ever since 2008, have been funded by the people and the people only. I don't even feel right cashing none of these people checks. I want the people to show the support and whatnot. There's no way that this information and these platforms and these avenues that people stand on and receive upgrades in your DNA and free you from slavery and break you out of bondage and make and level you up and help your edges grow back. There's no way that we should even be asking. It should be a given, you know what I mean? Because respect is earned in that given. And if this hasn't earned your respect, then you know it is true what they say about our people. And I hate to say it like that. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. So the brother Rob Leo wants to know, why does the Vatican get such a downplay in their involvement in the demise of Black people around the world?
All right, let's make this very clear. And this is back to the learning curve, and also with the phenotype or connotative linguistics of training. So I'm going to correct your question, all right?
Yeah.
Because remember, the question itself casts a spell if you don't know language.
Right.
I know what you mean and I know what you intend, but I also want to correct you with love and consideration, knowing connotative linguistics under animal husbandry has been trained among us so that while we're trying to fix things, we're actually casting spells and don't know it.
Right.
So remember, our people are not Black people. It's a trading places with the Negro, Yavera, Arebo, chimpanzee, monkey, Panjade, under hybriding experiments at the Yucatan, which manifest as the Roman or the real red man, i.e., the hybrid European of which you are not. That's number one.
The troglodyte?
Troglodyte nigger. That's the scientific name. All right. Now, the popes of Rome with the Inquisition against the Moors, part of their operations are the Christian Black codes from which the tag on the Moors, Black, has its origin. Are you clear?
Yes.
It is totally contemporary. It is not ancient. Are we clear?
Yes.
So you can't put it out of context without casting spells.
Right.
So when you come from the Punic Wars against the Moors, who are also written in the history as Carthaginians and Saracens, which you said earlier, i.e., and you already know that the Franciscan Brotherhood are the 12 divisions of the bishopric operations of Rome. All Europeans in their national states of the contemporary world are all Germans. Are we clear?
Yes, they're all Germanic tribes.
All of them are Germans.
Facts.
The different nation states are contemporary in human history. Are we clear?
They were just created. Yes.
Right. They weren't called officially white people till after 54. Are we clear?
Yes.
White is a status that belonged to the Moors, which you'll find in any good law dictionary. It does not mean Caucasian race. When you apply it to them, you call them your sovereign God, and you just made them God.
Right.
So be careful not to cast spells on yourself, because words have power, and they've trained you to say these things to keep them in power so that you don't know that you're empowering them. This is why they say the Satanists have no power except what you give to them.
That is a
which
fact.
means they have no jurisdiction except you keep giving up your birthright.
That is a fact.
All right. So that's number one. All right. So when you understand the issue which we said earlier, the major rules of political operations across the world is 1, unum sanctum, 2, dom diversus, 3, Romanus Pontifex, 4, Inter Caetera Divina, 5, Sister QV Act, 1666. And from that is where you see the people where Roosevelt in the 30s refunded their corporation of the Jesuit order of the Circle Church and Chancery by selling the birth certificates to refund the United States Corporation Company. This is also referred to as the straw man article. Are we clear?
Yes, we are.
So put things in context. Stop calling their fiat private commercial paper vouchers money, because when you do, you accept the debt. Are we clear?
We are.
We'll talk about that later, but I just want to remind you to break the spell that you just cast in the question.
No,
Not
give
knowing that
thanks.
you cast a spell. I just broke it.
Definitely give thanks for that, and that's something that we will move forward with, and we'll stand on that. We'll stand on that. I
Right
have
on,
one last
Tommy.
question.
Because remember, we have to break it because the only reason they are in power, because we keep them in power. That's why they promoted connotative linguistics among us that we keep thinking is hood language.
Connotative linguistics.
That's what it is.
Right.
Mind control, MK Ultra.
Right.
Through the language.
NLP. Right. Feudal language.
Through the language, and we think it's our fad hood culture, and it's been introduced on us.
Okay.
All right, continue.
There's a question, and this question, I'm thinking this will sum up a few questions that we had in the chat from different students that were asking it, but this sums it up. Question: if you think your temple leaders are incompetent, what can we do, and should they sign our nationality documents?
Put it this way. What did Noble Drawley say? He said, be careful, Moors. Some of your own brothers and sisters wearing turbans and fezzes will be trying to put you back into slavery.
Yes.
He also said the half has not been told. If I told you everything, you would go back to sleep. He also said the day will come when Moors will come into this movement with their eyes wide open and put you old Moors in the back of the room. What he's talking about is the traitors among us. Venues like this, where you're given real adept information, not sold to you, given to you because it's related to your birthright, will liberate you if you would just study. That's why he said, study yourselves, and study well. And when you would have studied well and would ask me what to study next, I would reply, study yourselves.
Right. Facts.
And with that, I give the greetings of peace and prosperity. Islam,
brother.
Assalamu alaikum.
Indeed.
Shalom. Vadi mekum. Bon abort. Have a great evening.
Indeed, my brother. Speak to you soon.
Peace.
Peace and love.
Good hearing your voice again too, good brother.
Likewise. Indeed.
Peace.
All right, family. There you have it. Our good brother. Laying it down. We're gonna end this right here with Sherman Hemsley, filmed in Philadelphia, paying homage to the great state. You know what I mean? And like I said, please join us again on Monday, on Moon Day. We will be back in the building. Also, pull up on the Sunday, next Sunday, the 28th. I will be with the good brother Sharif Anil Bey. We are going to be doing a lecture entitled Fear of a Blackamoor Messiah. This will be Zoom only off of YouTube. You just saw what they did tonight, knocking down the internet and things like that. So there's certain platforms that we have to be very mindful of that they're being surveillance. There's censorship and they're surveilling it. So we take our lectures on Zoom. This will be about 4 to 5 hours. Fear of a Blackamoor Messiah, featuring Red Pillar and Sharif Anil Bey. That is Sunday, July the 28th at 8 p.m. Pull up, please. Class is always in session. We are going to be giving information overload. All right. You just got this one right here. So just imagine what we'll be doing on the Zoom class. Then on Melanin Monday, right around the corner, we have Sabir, we have the Minister of Information, we got Brother Sharif, and we got Brother Taj for the Moorish Roundtable, so we could get to some solutions. All right. So have your questions on deck, and we will see you on Monday. Peace, love, and light. Enter. Nectar. Islam.
Islam.
Peace, King.
How you feeling?
I'm well.
How much?
444.
Can I get 2 bags?
Yes, sir. Okay, yeah.
I just want 2. Just 2 right now. This
You
is
know
2.
what? This is on me, King.
Get thanks.
Yeah, this is for the family. All right?
No doubt.
Indeed.
This is for you.
Oh, man, beautiful.
Peace.
Thank you,
Thanks.
thank you. Yes,
It's a healthy one right there. It got seeds in it.
this one got seeds in it.
It got
Look,
seeds in it.
It broke the scale.
Ah,
We need a whale scale now.
yes, sir, man.
Yes, greetings.
Peace, brother.
Peace be unto you.
It's so magnetic. Red pillar, red pillar. It was recognized as ultra. They weaponized the culture. They recognized the vultures. Blue pillar. It's so magnetic. KT the arch. It was recognized as ultra. Kambata. They weaponized the culture. We went from Eugene Adams, searching for the blacks in China, to searching through these back pages for some black China and some black vagina. We went from the UNIA and the black starliners to some black masons, black shriners, buying crack from the miners. Went from dapper damn black designers to some Gucci turtlenecks, black face reminders. Moving on up, Sherman Helmsley. But the shooters is shooting on up. There's nightmares on Elm Street. Computers it is booting on up. I'm dream chasing through the Jason months. As above, so below. We was adjacent once. Rethink your fears. They drank your tears. While you waking up for delinquent years, the distinctive years, crack pays, black rage, Beanie Siegel backstage, state property, crack cage, hell up in Harlem, the black plagues, Luke Cage, going through his crack rage, captured, bulletproof zombies, raptured, toothless blondies, carving a piece, ruthless Gandhi, starving for peace, no disguise for the vulture's eyes, most survive, but they cultures die. Look at Scarface through Sosa's eyes. Approach the guys and get posterized. Or dropped in the acid, emulsified. All of your media is socialized. When they see us and they start acting goofy, we smacking koofies, they bad and bougie. I'm a timeless royal, times of turmoil. Phyllis Thomas on Thomas Boyle. Flaxseed oil, black winter boil. Color of the backstreet soil with orange coils. We the lost attraction, I'm the course of action. If she look like Penny for a good time, I toss her Jackson. Me in the carbon, this quantum entangle. I'm dripping in carrots, the sponsors are dangle. If I had to decide to fade to Billy Gates, I say young chop his ass like Philly steak. Shit, I gave birth to a lady killer. Object of desire to Mercedes dealers. A hard pill they soon to swallow. Wherever I go, all these drones, yeah, they soon to follow. I resisted the urge and persisted to purge. Protect the hood from the peckerwood in my neck of woods. Delectable Negroes say they neck is good. Protect the wood, protect his wood. 36 chambers, Inspector Deck was good.
The future